Americans love paying taxes. From the very beginning, they've loved paying taxes. So mobs start to protest, and what we have is one of the first times that delegates get together and discuss. Now, real quick, a Congress, we think of a Congress as a room full of people in suits yelling at each other, unfortunately. But all that means is a Congress is when you get together and have a meeting, okay? But we just tend to think of it as a Congress, okay? Representatives from 9 colonies met in New York to discuss what to do about this Stamp Act. It's not fair, we need to talk about it. What colony didn't show up? Georgia. Does that make you proud? Yeah. Yeah, stuck-up state. They didn't care to show up, okay? So at the Stamp Act Congress, I don't have this up here, so pay attention. This is what they decided to do. This is the first time they're putting it down on paper that they're going to boycott English goods. You guys know what a boycott is, right? Good. Gotta make sure, man.
No.
So the crisis ended. The British kind of backed down and tried to keep people happy because they are making a lot of money off the colonies. So they backed down. So what happens if a lot of people complain and revolt and the government backs down? What do you think the next time when they bring out a tax, what are the people going to think works? If you complain and act out and protest, it'll work. That's a bad precedent to set for the British government to back down, okay? But they just figure, hey, we can find other ways to tax things. So they do. The Quartering Act of 1765, you've heard about since grade school. It was the law that made it, the colonists had to shelter and supply British troops. So if a squad of U.S. troops showed up at your apartment tonight and said, hey, what are we having for dinner? You would have to let them in, and they'd eat all your pizza and drink all your case of water. Yeah. So I know that would make you really happy to have to do that.
Wasn't that already going on for the get-go?
Yes, but he had relaxed that and said it was just a wartime measure. Okay? But yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. Now the British are coming in and enacting it as an official quartering act after the French and Indian War. But I'm glad you asked that. You're absolutely right. It's the same thing. The Townsend duties, Charles Townsend is responsible for these, but you don't need to really know who he is. But duties is another word for tax. This taxed all kinds of things. Lead, paint, paper, tea. Don't tax my tea. Some of you in here are probably addicted to coffee. And have to have coffee every day. So before you guys laugh about why would anybody get mad about taxing tea, I want you to think about that. Because some of you, everybody in here probably likes to have some kind of routine. I got addicted to coffee in grad school, and then I quit because I was drinking way too much of it. It shakes. Just kidding. It wasn't that bad. But the tea is going to make people really mad, and so is this. They appoint custom officials. I've talked about this before, but the customs officials are tax collectors, and they go around and make sure people are paying taxes. Okay, and those are the ones that we talk about that have the lovely experience of being tarred and feathered. Okay, colonists are getting very angry about this, but right now we're in 1767. It's only been a few years after the war, so a lot of people are starting to. It's been all we're talking about here at the beginning of class today is the reasons why colonists are starting to get angry. The non-importation agreement was the very first Buy American campaign. Okay? A lot of you are probably too young to remember the Buy USA campaigns of the 1980s. It was a big deal to have USA owned and operated, USA goods, Buy USA. It was a really big deal. And what's that? What, I was asking her if you were related to me. Well, you guys don't have to make me feel that old. But, it was a time when people were very into buying American. The logic is, if we buy American, we won't be giving our money to the British, and we can live off of ourselves. Because remember, before this, they were importing all that stuff. I talked about it last week. Remember, they were getting in debt, importing all these great things from Britain, and now it became patriotic to show your support by buying American clothing and goods.
But they didn't call it American goods, they called it settlers goods.
Well, they were British Americans at this point.
So what would the campaign
What would it? Buy local.
Buy local.
Yeah, I mean, it was don't buy. It was more like don't buy British goods, don't buy imported goods. That was a good answer. I was being sarcastic when I said it was buy USA because it's not USA yet, but it was more like buy local, and it was the non-importation. Don't buy what's coming in. And they also said, you know what, it'll show them? We'll stop paying our debts. That's a great idea. You guys try that with your credit card companies. See how that works out for you. I don't feel like paying my debts anymore. The reason I put that last thing up there for you guys is I can't say this enough. They're proud that they're English. Nobody's walking around saying, yay, America. Okay? But the thing is, every decade that goes by, more people are getting to the point where they were born in America and don't really know Britain. Okay? They don't know their English heritage. Okay? So, but for the most part, they're getting frustrated with the taxes, but they're not at a boiling point yet. That's going to happen in the 1770s. So the war has been over about 7 years. Okay? The taxes really started making people mad in 1765. So more and more people are starting to protest. You see the formation of the Liberty Boys. You ever heard of them? Hopefully you've read your book. But the test is going to be over chapters 1 to 7, by the way. But we'll go over that in the class. The Liberty Boys were a group that were starting to protest English atrocities. I'm sorry, I'm standing in your way.
You know you're fine.
The Liberty Boys were led by a man named Sam Adams. Yes, it's the beer.
Awesome. That's it.
I encourage everyone to have one tonight, and no, I'm kidding. Extra credit. Everybody join me over at the tavern. We'll have Sam Adams together and talk. On March 6th, 1770, a bunch of Liberty Boys and dock workers are going to see how far the British can go. But I need to present this in a very balanced way because I want you guys to see the British side. I know in grade school, evil British, look at them, die, you filthy Americans. That's not, I want to balance, okay? 4 regiments were stationed in Boston, okay? Now, here's what happened. People were getting tired of the army being everywhere, and that just makes people nervous, okay? But it's more than that. When the officers and, well, mainly the enlisted men, when they were off duty, they were getting part-time jobs in Boston, okay? So that's one reason some of them, the colonists, the American men, started going, what? We need work. And these guys come in, they're already invading our homes. Now they're taking jobs, okay? Another reason that you can't really underestimate is all of these soldiers are starting to date the local women, right? So the men are saying, okay, they come in and take our jobs. Now they're dating our girls. This is getting old. So there's tension already, not to mention the tax and the money, but they're also messing with their girlfriends, their wives, you know. So they're kind of starting to go, this is getting old. So on March 6, 1770, they actually start to protest a customs official. Okay? Captain Thomas Preston has a small group of British soldiers, and he goes out and tells them to disperse. You'll see this happens a lot in this time period. The British go and go, disperse in the name of the king. And then the Americans respond by going, okay? No, we're not going anywhere, okay? They start throwing snowballs. I know that sounds like not that big a deal, all right? And sticks. But see, I spent some time as a child growing up in upstate New York, okay? I've been in snowball fights, and I know how New Yorkers have a snowball fight. They believe the best core of a snowball is to put a rock and then put the snow around it and make it nice and like ice, okay? I got hit by a couple of those. I had a couple people too. So anyway, I just want to always mention that because just because it was snowballs doesn't mean there wasn't anything in the snowballs, okay? So they're telling them to go away. They're saying disperse, disperse, disperse. Now, what happened next, here are the facts. The British opened fire, 5 people were killed, okay? Because they wouldn't disperse. Of course, the Americans say the British Captain Thomas Preston yelled fire. He said, I never yelled fire, okay? Both sides are saying the other side did it, okay? If you want to know, here's what I think probably could have happened. When everybody was fighting and scuffling, we know a soldier was knocked down, okay? And then the fire happened. I think what probably happened, and this is just my opinion, I wasn't there, I know you guys think I'm old, but I wasn't there. But if you've ever been in a loud crowd, a concert, for instance, and your friend next to you is yelling something at you, can you always hear what they say?
No.
So isn't it possible that Preston said, hold your fire, and that's all they heard? Isn't that possible? I mean, when there's complete chaos, anybody could have yelled fire. The Americans could have said, don't fire. And then, what? You know? So I'm saying that it was chaos. We don't know what happened, other than the fact 5 people were killed. Okay? I'd just like to give a balanced version, and so you don't think the British are just walking around being the evil empire. Okay? I know it's easy to think that, but anyway, they go on, they don't have Darth Vader, Lord Darth Vader walking around. I know it sounds easy, but I like to give you guys a balanced version of the evil empire. So.
Only 5 people were killed.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. She just said only 5 people were killed. Okay, wait. Now, the Boston shooting, the Boston incident, doesn't sound nearly as good as massacre. Yeah! Now that'll get people reading some papers, right? So Paul Revere did this engraving here, okay? And it was passed, here's the thing that, just to let you know, this is why I think the British, one of the reasons they lost the war, okay? They were so far away that news took way too long to get there, okay? Paul Revere is an American, okay? He does this engraving, and it spreads all throughout the colonies about what happened in Boston. They start calling it the Boston Massacre. Up there he calls it the Bloody Massacre, if you can read that. Okay? Now, all of that word gets around America before England even knows it happened. Okay? So all the people, I don't care who you are, I don't care how calm you are, if I come in here and tell you something happened out there, oh my gosh, you're killing everybody out there, you guys are going to listen to me first. Okay? And if somebody comes in and says, no, they're not killing anybody, you're not going to listen to the second guy. Okay? So by the time the British can respond to this, it's too late. The word has gotten around. Paul Revere's engravings everywhere. Now take a look at this. We talked about worldview in this class. What do you notice about the British?
They're the only ones shooting.
Well, they're the only ones shooting, but do they look like they're,
Their uniforms are all like
I'm trying to think of how I want to word this.
They're the only ones with weapons.
They are definitely in power. Do you notice that they are in a perfect line? This guy is definitely not looking like, oh man, I guess we should shoot. No, they made him look, oh yeah, I already screamed that once, my voice is going, I can't scream it again, but filthy Americans, you know. So they look like they are enjoying this, they're killing all these people. You can't really see it, but there's blood coming out like a fountain out of this guy's chest. It's like this one stream of blood in this nice neat pile. This guy's been shot in the head. This guy's falling down like, what just happened? Oh my God, I'm such an innocent person. You know, none of these people look angry. You don't see any mob-like people holding their fists up. No, they're all like, oh my God, what is wrong? You know, that's what they sounded like too. So they have to go on trial, okay? Now, John Adams is selected to defend them. John Adams is a local man. He believes in law. He loves law. And he believes that he can defend these British soldiers. He believes that they deserve a fair trial. And he does this because A, he believes in the law, and B, he thinks if they just went out and killed the soldiers, it would make America look really bad to the British. Okay? So John Adams